And welcome to the Ascension Academy podcast. I am your host, Tumai, and we also have
Audrey here. This is episode 5 of season 1. During the season, we are focusing on essential oils and everything to do with health and wellness from Mother Nature's blueprint.
A little bit about me. I am your dedicated breath facilitator and coach, helping you raise awareness within your own body and your breathing mechanics.
And a little bit about me. I'm your in-house aromatherapist and essential oil coach, and I'm here to help you gain some insight into the incredible potential Mother Nature offers up from her toolbox.
Phenomenal. So welcome everybody to this podcast and this particular episode number 5.
Yay.
The main topic here is InsideOut Beauty Elixir. Essential oils for timeless radiance. In today's podcast, we are going to cover topics such as how do essential oils work on the skin? Like, have you ever wondered why people talk about essential oils and why they directly relate to the skin? Have you ever wondered why the health and wellness or even beauty industry look to mimic what the essential oils bring to the table? What is that all about? We're also going to cover the mind-body connection and how it relates to the skin. Like, perhaps there'll be an opportunity for me to talk about some of the signatures behind skin problems even. I've been having conversations with that with some friends that are inside of our community as well, and supporting around those topics. We'll talk about essential oils for different skin types. We'll also cover the usual safety and choosing quality essential oils, practical applications, and the holistic approach, tips to radiant, healthy skin. You know, if you're the type of person that have always wanted to unpack and understand essential oils at this level, and a lot of the time when I look at many different friends in our community and why people say that you can tell the health of somebody by looking at their skin, well, today's topic, we're going to be able to uncover why that's the case. Welcome to today's episode. What are your thoughts, Audrey?
Yeah, it's exciting. We haven't rehearsed any of this. We're just diving right in because we're just drawing from our personal experience and sharing some of the insights we've had over the years when it comes to skin health and glow. So I can't wait to unpack this.
Now, we've also decided to go live in our main Facebook group. We typically only go live in our members groups, but today with this topic, we have some friends that may want to refer to this particular podcast. We also have the recordings available on our podcast and on our YouTube. Feel free to follow along on all of our social media platforms as well. So let's get straight into it, and I'll start off with the first question here for the in-house aromatherapist, Audrey. Audrey, tell us about how essential oils work on the skin.
Right. So there's such a multifaceted part of Mother Nature. And without getting too technical or chemical or scientific, I'll just break it down. It just basically essential oils are, for those of you that are new, they're distilled essence from plants, from botanicals. And when you get a really pure, authentic, unadulterated, untainted essential oil distilled into a bottle and you use that for your skin, what happens is you're using very special chemical compounds found in Mother Nature. And each in the aromatherapy world, each chemical compound has a very unique therapeutic action. So some essential oils are specifically beneficial to skin. Not all, but some of them are. And some of them have the ability to help in supporting skin regeneration or scar tissue healing of scars and wounds. And all those of you know the perennial favorite is lavender. That's one of the main favorites. And without going into too much detail, the type of lavender matters as well, right? But also the absorption of essential oils, and we speak about this in our other podcasts, in our masterclass as well. The ability of essential oil molecules to be absorbed so quickly through the skin membrane is another important factor which you cannot find in man-made compounds. So the ability for the skin to absorb those minute molecules is essential. It works from the inside out. It passes through the different barriers of your skin and magically goes to work at the deeper layers, right? The other way I feel essential oils work in supporting skin health is it's very high in antioxidant capacity. Like that's really not commonly known amongst, in the industry. But they do have high levels of antioxidants. So antioxidants help break down free radicals, right? Or oxidation in your body. And we all know that free radicals and oxidation speeds up the aging process. What else can I say here? Oh, they balance your hormones. So obviously, if you have really good balanced hormones, your hormones are regulated, that's going to be reflected, manifested on the surface of your skin, right? There's so much more to this. And being able to regulate your emotions or your hormone production also means you're able to support collagen production in your body. That also supports skin health. There's a lot. There's a lot.
I want to put the brakes on because you spoke about many different facets, and I've been blessed enough to support you along the journey of giving masterclasses, speaking on stage, and really understanding the nuanced points that you're providing here. So I do want to drill deeper into that, but I also just want to start at the surface level and talk about my most recent discovery. I was mixing essential oils, and the two that landed for me, it just happened quite naturally. And then when I looked into it, I found out that these were skin oils. I normally have a protocol of putting coconut oil around and on my face and on my body. But one morning I put cedarwood and geranium together, and Audrey couldn't pick out the smell. And I like doing that because she's got a really good nose on what essential oils.
Picked up the cedarwood and the chemistry and the interplay with the geranium. I could not pick up the geranium for some reason.
Which has a lot to do with synergy as well, because when the individual compounds, chemistry or constituents are playing together, they have an entirely different expression and signature or blueprint of Mother Nature when they're mixed together. Really, really important point to make. But I just wanted to get you to cover some of the main skin essential oils that you have or that you use on a daily basis, whether you're doing a skin workshop or whether you're mixing an elixir, a lotion. What oils are you using, if you could just take us through?
Well, personally, my personal favorites here, and like this is only a fraction of what I love, but my go-to is always frankincense because that was my first huge experience with a very quick acting essential oil and how it actually reduced my scar that I had for 6 years from a cesarean, emergency cesarean. It reduced its appearance to almost, you could not see it. It was 95% faded within 5 days. So that was my very first experience that, holy heck, I was like, what on earth? What else can essential oils do if that can happen? And I tried everything before. So that's my go-to. Yep.
I've got this one here, frankincense essential oil, in particular, Boswellia Qatari.
Yeah.
Has been sought after and traded since ancient times and plays a special role in many religious ceremonies. So there's some history here.
There is.
Let's
Before the
mention-
science came about, we were already using this.
You've done a talk on ancient wisdom or Bible oils as well, which is really phenomenal. And frankincense has been mentioned. How many?
Yeah.
I think it's one of the
It's been
highest.
mentioned many times in the Bible, but it's magical because, and keep in mind, it's the species matters, and it also matters that you're buying an oil that only has one species of frankincense. Personally, I don't want to buy an oil where they've mixed a whole bunch of species in there, and I'm not going to get consistent results over time.
So it says here, just at the bottom, I want to highlight that in addition to elevated spiritual experiences, yes, frankincense is a highly spiritual essential oil holding that particular signature. The benefits of frankincense essential oil include maintaining radiant skin. Its ability to smooth the look of healthy skin makes this oil a key part of Young Living's Boswellian wrinkle cream.
Yeah. So when I started using this on my face, I basically blended it with a carrier oil. Carrier oil is anything that's cold pressed, organic. Usually it's a nut or seed, from a nut or seed. And so I usually use sweet almond oil, or you can use coconut oil, but whatever, or argan oil was one of my favorites. I blended that with the carrier oil and I used it as my daily face serum. Like within 1 or 2 weeks, my friends were commenting, wow, your skin is glowing. Like it literally was glowing. It's so amazing for your complexion. And now I know, at the time I didn't know, I just knew, well, they say frankincense great for skin. But when I started diving in more to the research and the signature of Mother Nature and how this is extracted and what part it plays in nature and what it does for the tree, so many things, like even the chemistry or the size or how it communicates with your cells, that helps you understand.
So for those of you that are just joining or listening to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast or watching the YouTube video, we're streaming this live as well. Feel free to ask any questions inside the comment box. Right now, we're just talking about, with our in-house aromatherapist, Audrey, how essential oils actually work on supporting skin health. Another part that Audrey skipped over that I want to bring out too, there's so many different pieces of depth in this topic, is I want Audrey to talk about the signature or the expression of frankincense oil when it comes to the process before distillation. How is it that what signs in Mother Nature do we have to tell us that this oil or this process is for the skin or for the outside parts of us?
Yeah, that's a great question, Timai. So how do we look to nature for the clues to tell us what it may do for us in the human body? So frankincense oil is distilled from the frankincense resin. So what they do is they cut the tree. And as you know, if you've cut a tree or tried to initial your letters into a tree, something happens. A lot of the trees excrete a resin, right? A sap to seal that wound, to support in the wound healing. So in the countries where this is distilled, that's what they do, but they do it sustainably. They do it carefully to make sure the tree is not compromised. And it's a very long, tedious process. So they cut them and they come back to collect the sap that is collected on the tree. And then they dry them out over several days. And then that goes into a distillery to be carefully steam distilled. I mean, the steam distillation process is very lengthy as well. The condensation of that separates the oil from the water that was used in the distillery, and that's how they collect the oil. So think about that for a moment and what it does for the tree. Similarly, for most essential oils, whatever it does for the botanical, for what it does in nature, has the potential to support our body in the same way. Yeah. Did that help?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll get you to quickly, surefire action, take us through the other essential oils for skin that you have. Just a quick highlight of each one and just name them and bring them on.
Quick highlight obviously is lavender, And lavender is just Swiss Army knife. It just does so many things. But in particular, you have to be mindful of which one you buy. It's lavandula angustifolia. It's a particular species that's fantastic for skin support and regeneration of skin cells. I personally love, love, love sandalwood. Not just any sandalwood, because there's different types of sandalwood around the world, and not all of them are farmed sustainably. But I love the Royal Hawaiian sandalwood from Young Living's reforestation project in Hawaii, and they helped to sustain and bring back this species. And this takes many, many years to be ready. Even for the tree to be ready to be chopped down and distilled can take up to 80 years. So if you don't know what you're doing and you're just you just want to jump on the bandwagon and make a quick buck, you're going to grow a sandalwood tree, chop them down after a few years, distill it and sell it on the market. But it takes decades for the plant to have the right therapeutic constituents available for you to use. So that's another one. It's really good for more mature skin. I love cedarwood like you do. Cedarwood's perfect, and it's inexpensive as well. It's great, and it's multi-use. Keeps the moths away. A point. All these oils, they don't just do one thing. They do so many things, right? So you're not getting one bottle just to make your skin serum. You're getting a bottle to do various things around the home. I also love jasmine. Jasmine's so exquisite. I love putting that into the diffuser because, like, why? We deserve it. And literally for dollars a day, for less than a cup of coffee a day, you can be experiencing all these amazing molecules in your body. Another one is ylang ylang. And ylang ylang has multiple purposes as well. It's great as an aphrodisiac. It's great for libido. It's great for relaxation, nervous tension.
I have a really good relationship with ylang ylang because we visited the farms in South America and was a part of the distillation process. So just the fragrance naturally from the flower petals, it's so strong. I can never... It's impossible to forget the smell now.
It brings you right back to that moment in time.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember they had just all these ylang ylang flowers in a big, what do you call that, a glass container where you can dispense your water. And I took one sip of that water and I nearly fell backwards. It was so strong just from the flowers, the blossoms being in the water infused with the ylang ylang smell. So that was phenomenal.
As you keep talking, Audrey, I'll just show them a little bit about the farm that we visited. So this was the farm.
One of the farms that they have.
Farms. And this highlight video kind of shows us exactly what's happening on the farm. And we got to see all of these different parts of the process. So when we talk about healthy skin, glowing skin, and where the therapeutic benefits come from, and understanding the relationship with Mother Nature all the way through the distillation process to the husbandry of the land, to the health of the soil, through to the timing of planting the seed, to picking, to understanding what's happening with its immediate environment. All of these factors play a huge part in contributing to the signature of an essential oil.
Yep.
And when it comes to the quality, and even we were on this exact farm, that particular
that was amazing.
Let's pause here. I think just from the top of my mind,
this is in Ecuador.
Are all of these farms. So this was when it was very new and not much is planted. All of the dark in the background here, which is kind of all of that is Palo Santo. This is ylang ylang,
and they have tons
and some
now.
other different parts. And I think there's some more ylang ylang at the front. We were drinking ylang ylang water all day, every day, so you can't forget the smell.
Everything on that farm is organic. Even we found a special tree with organic bananas. We didn't want to tell anyone. And the mangoes. But essentially, like, every part of the process matters when it comes to quality and when it comes to safety, right? And it comes to efficacy, actually seeing results really quickly. And I think that's why most people don't even think essential oils work. They just think it's for smell because they haven't actually tried one that is so potent and that has almost instant results on many levels.
So what are some other key essential oils that you have there for skin that you haven't mentioned?
Roman chamomile is really good, and it's a very gentle oil for children as well.
I also see geranium.
Geranium is your favorite.
Yep. So this comes in a bigger bottle. It's pink. Geranium. I mix this one in with cedarwood. Really enjoy this.
That's a great one. You can't go wrong with that because a lot of these oils that are good for skin, incidentally, I just realized a lot of the flowery oils, they all have natural phytoestrogens, which we're going to jump into on another topic when it comes to hormone regulation and phytoestrogens and why it's important for the human body and for women in particular to regulate and harmonize your hormones for healthy aging.
Okay, Audrey. So we spoke about some of the essential oils. You covered collagen production to hormone balance to how the therapeutic action around scars, wounds,
Yeah, there's different
absorption,
actions of different oils, which we can't go into, but
Yeah.
each oil has a different action.
the antioxidant
Capacity,
parts of
yes.
things. So maybe what I want to drill into here are the chemical compounds and understanding what's the difference between when I was growing up, I was using skin lotions that were normally pasty white, and I would buy them from my closest chemist warehouse store. And the smell is, I still remember the smell, but I remember when I applied it onto my skin, it instantly made my skin elastic smooth. And that was what I had a relationship when I was younger with healthy skin.
Right.
What is the difference chemically when it comes to the lotion that you would buy down at the chemist or at another health store versus just a natural, pure, unadulterated essential oil? If you know how to mix it together and blend it, what are we working with here?
Yeah, when you know how to, and it's not hard to mix them. Like you literally, with some simple guidelines, you can easily whip up something for your daily use, and there's literally no side effects when you know what you're doing. So what it comes down to is picking the right base or a wax or a cream or a shea butter that determines, like, that helps to hold in the moisture. But the difference I find, and I used to be one of those, I would go to the department store and spend hundreds of dollars every month on the best brands. And I won't mention what brands, but they're still one of the top brands out there. You know, I mean, there is definitely science, research and development and all that goes into it and putting together all these compounds. But what I find is it's what's beautiful about being able to make your own and knowing what goes into it is I know there's nothing synthetic in there. Synthetic compounds is something that we're bombarded with enough in our world, and our body's not able to process them. If you have too much of it, our body's not able to process it effectively, and it gets stored in your liver or some other organ or in your tissues. And then one day it just hits and it turns up as a rash or something else. But the other thing is you can get so many other benefits out of just a few molecules of essential oil. You're getting a deeper level of therapeutic action. It's moving through your body. When you put on your skin, it actually moves into your bloodstream and moves around in your body and communicates with your cell receptor sites. It can help in the smell of it. It can help trigger an emotional response that's calming, soothing. It can really keep you focused. And it has been shown to have really positive impact on your brainwave activity as well. And using something simple like a lavender or frankincense serum on my face at night, it does something else. It helps support my sleep pattern, right? My circadian rhythm. There's so much more to it. And you can't get that out of a store-bought bottle of cream, right?
Great answer. You just touched on essentially the differences of how you have something synthetic versus something untouched by nature. And it reminds me of untouched by man, yep. And it reminds me of a slide that we have that I'm about to show in a moment. And I will get to the questions that are inside of the chat box. They're coming through now. So I'll ask those first, but I do need to remember to speak to you about synergy and the complexity of Mother Nature and how powerful that is and how that works in relationship with our skin. So we have two questions that have just come through. Question number one, which is the best for blemishes? So go ahead with essential oil that could help out with blemishes.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is tea tree, but without just giving you an answer for that, it really depends on what's causing the blemish, right? Sometimes we like to address symptoms with a Band-Aid effect. So yes, temporarily, some oils can support and help to dry it out. So you're looking for essential oils that have this astringent properties, right? They can help to soothe and bring down that blemish, that inflammation. And obviously if it's a continuous problem, right, whether it be about, maybe it could be your cleanser, what you're using on your skin that might trigger that, or whether it's hormonal, or whether it's stress. You see how many pathways we can go down will determine what kind of approach to take. So I have to ask a little bit more about that another time, Dom. But yes.
So when it comes to skin, I've got a book that we refer to quite often, and the emotions behind skin. So I'll just read out a few sentences and see if it lands or resonates. If you're listening on Spotify or listening via audio, I've basically got a book out, and we're about to also share screen. Audio is a great way to listen and connect with us in terms of the podcast, but it's even better watching it on video because we get an opportunity to actually show images with what we're talking about. So it says here, the emotions behind any skin problem is the skin is the barrier between a person and the world. Deep-seated insecurities and irritations can surface on the skin if a person is irritated or triggered. The skin is a person's physical boundary and it keeps them safe and protected. When circumstances, environmental factors, or people challenge this barrier, it will speak up for itself by means of itching, burning, or toxins feeling irritated. So there's topics here that are coming up about boundaries and understanding the difference between you, your own internal world, and something outside of you or the external world, and understanding the distinguish or being able to distinguish the difference between the two is what's key. So it also says, the last few sentences, there's paragraphs here. So I'll just read through the last little pieces here. The skin will let a person know that a physical or emotional boundary has been overstepped. When their boundaries are challenged, it can result in a person feeling inadequate, unworthy to say no, and express boundaries when needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, without going further into
this
it,
kind of speaks into the mind-body connection and how our thoughts and beliefs can influence our physical health. But other than that metaphysical side of things, obviously that's very important, knowing the root of it. Some of the things that can help address quickly, and because I know, Dom, you will have this oil, and I always love to go to the blends because we're talking about synergy and just they're just magical in how they perform in the human body. But Melrose is phenomenal. It has Melaleuca, which is tea tree. It has rosemary and has a couple other essential oils in there that really support the skin. But start there and definitely look at the root cause as well.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's good for now.
Okay, great. So the next question here that we have from G is oils. Can you have suggestions for oils for healthy hair and scalp?
Healthy hair and scalp. You know, the hair, the scalp, the skin, the nails are all part of the same system of the body. So similarly, whatever you're using for skin can also be used for hair. I typically go back to just undoing and then redoing, meaning unlearning and not using things that I used to use from the supermarket on my scalp. And what it did, it was stripped all the natural oils from my scalp and dried out my hair. And the more you use it, have you noticed the more your head gets oilier? So because your body's trying to compensate for all the natural oils that were stripped out. So I did have a transition period to get to healthy hair. I needed to go very natural, and obviously, you know, I transitioned from more natural, brands, and then finally landed on Young Living because I've looked at the ingredients meticulously and found that they are very clean. And being able to transition to clean, healthy shampoo and conditioner is important because that's usually the root of the problem. I've stopped perming, I've stopped dyeing, I've stopped doing the things that add chemical compounds, synthetic compounds to my hair. And after you get through that difficult process of having your scalp regulate the oil production again, that's when you start to see shiny, healthy hair again. And now every time I go to the hairdresser, you notice what they say, oh, you have such healthy hair, and they can't stop touching it. It's literally just keeping it simple. It's taking away ingredients versus adding ingredients.
I watch them literally grab it and look at the ends and go, huh?
And I don't cut them for months.
Like,
there's no split ends.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to eliminating compounds that are not safe for you, that are very drying, very harsh, and using things that you know are safe. And then really, I don't really maintain it other than occasionally I will make a hair serum and just kind of scrunch into the base, into the bottoms of the ends of the hair. But again, we're talking about from the inside out. in order to see healthy skin, hair, and nails, you have to work from the inside out, which is what we're going to dive into today. Yeah, it's about several things. It's about the getting rid of the oxidation, the free radicals, by using oils regularly, because it's the fastest and safest way to do that day to day.
Okay, so just before you were touching on the differences between normal skin products that you would buy at Chemist Warehouse or at different places at the stores or at the shops versus essential oils. And you were talking about the complexity, but also how when you're able to blend essential oils together, there is a synergy. In a previous episode, we spoke about synergy. We talk about power and potency of essential oils, and we also go into depth when it comes to our masterclass that is coming up in about 10 to 11 days.
Yep.
We're going to go into detail about each one of these topics, allowing you to both comprehend, communicate, and use essential oils to a whole nother level without having to go study for 8 years like what this one did.
I like
Audrey.
reading and studying.
Yeah. But she figured out that there were some key foundations that if you got these foundations, you'd instantly
Just get
be
it.
able to understand and communicate without having to rely on all of these books
Textbooks.
that we have in the background to read through. So that's there. It's available for you. And a classic example, as I share screen, I'll try my best to explain it for those that are just on audio for our podcast. There is a blend that we have in essential oils that bring together multiple plants. One plant, tarragon, has many different chemical features and different signature in terms of, if we look at the keywords of calming, coughs, digestion, pain, shock, soothing, spasms, it has different signatures for it to address or support things in the body. So there is one blend, as an example, that has this plant, and this plant have these key constituents or key chemistry inside of it. These are just the key ones, by the way. So these are chemical shapes,
Flashback to chemistry.
untouched by man. It's just natural. It exists out there in Mother Nature. When you distill it, you can see that these shapes are available in essential oils.
And this is just a small number of the complete profile.
Yeah, so those that are listening, there's different chemistry shapes. On screen right now, there's maybe about 10 or so for the plant tarragon. When we distill tarragon, we get this, and then there's another plant, ginger. So we've got this ginger that has a certain signature.
Who doesn't know how great ginger is in the kitchen, right? And how good it is for your gut.
Ginger has this as a chemical expression. Maybe there's another on screen for those listening, another 10 to 12 chemical expressions here, different shapes. Peppermint has this as their key shapes or chemistry. Juniper has this. Lemongrass has this. Another, say, 8
Yep. Just an
chemistry
example.
shapes. And by the way, all of these plants are in one blend. And this, coughs, digestion, gas, pain, spasms. So you're starting to get a bit of an idea of the signature of nature when when you blend these together, this chemistry together. Last one, patchouli, has all of these different chemical shapes. All of these shapes
Blended
together, working as one team,
synergistically.
move through each one of the human body systems.
And what's amazing is they actually fit into special receptors in our body as Mother Nature intended. It's a perfect fit. Man cannot replicate compounds to fit perfectly into our receptor sites. That's the interesting thing. They kind of fit, but they don't fit perfectly.
So the reason why I bring this up on screen is because I want everybody to understand when Audrey is talking about and bring up on screen all of these essential oils, including all of the different blends. When we're able to mix and blend effectively all of these different signatures of plants, and they all typically support the skin, what you end up having is an entire team of supporting the health of your skin, the longevity of the skin, the vitality of your skin.
And everything inside of your body as well at the same time.
Which is why we think it's so important to understand this and speak from the signatures of Mother Nature and understand this in order for you to be able to become independent in trusting you. You being able to trust your nose and smell and blend it together. Allow your body to guide you versus having to rely on textbooks. Another key
or
part.
even outsourcing your power to other people.
Yeah, this is really key and it's really important. And so these are the main points of understanding synergy. Essential oils blended together when applied to the face. All of a sudden, it's no longer a skin lotion. It's almost like a vitality elixir, a longevity mix, something that supports your youth long term. It's kind of almost offensive to say that this is just a lotion, a skin lotion, right? When you understand the signature here. So the next question that I want to go on for Audrey here and for those that are listening. Audrey,
do we cover,
what about talking about the mind-body connection and its relevance to healthy skin and aging? Can you tell us, I know I was speaking a little bit about the emotions.
Yeah.
What do you think when it comes to the mind-body connection and its relevance to healthy skin?
Yeah, I'd like to start off with this really amazing quote by Deepak Chopra. He said, "Wherever a thought goes, a chemical goes with it." And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, what are we thinking? What beliefs do we have? What are we telling ourselves? What are we saying about ourselves, right? Every day. It actually impacts our health and our physical health on the outside. So the mind and what you think and the predominant thought patterns you have on a day-to-day basis has a direct impact with how you manifest in your body, your physical health, and eventually how you look, right, on the outside. So that's the mind-body connection. Also, talking about that we can talk about stress and how are our levels of stress in today's society. What is your stress level at? Is it consistent? Is it chronic? Is it day to day? How do you manage your stress levels? And that's the beauty of the essential oils as well, is they're able to really regulate your stress hormones. It's the quickest, fastest way to activate a response in your body to calm your nervous system so you're not chronically in that state of mind. Yeah. So that's one thing that I wanted to say about the mind-body.
That's a phenomenal point because when we're working on our skin, it's a real holistic approach. Yes, you can blend beautiful skin oils that smell nice, as close to perfumes as can get, or much rather perfumes as close to essential oils can get. But what we miss here is that the oils are also working on multiple other parts of our system, not just the skin.
Yeah.
It's beauty from the inside out versus the outside, kind of trying to make it go in.
Yeah, it really supports your emotional state. It supports your hormone regulation, like I said, so that has a huge impact. But also when we're talking about mind, body, a lot of people tell me, oh, Audrey, you look young because you're Asian. You've got Asian genes. And to that I say, yes, that is true. But it's also true, as Dr. Bruce Lipton discovered, the man that coined the term epigenetics. It's also true that actually only 25 to 35% of how we age is determined by our genes. So the rest of that, the majority of that, is determined by your environment or how you perceive the world. So coming back, bring that back to the mind body. Yeah, so that's huge. So being on top of that, being aware of that's important, and knowing that you're not just mixing a skin serum or a cream, you're actually supporting yourself, your body at many levels below the surface.
Yeah, I have a lot to input into that. I found that the more I was grounded, the more I was centered, the more I was breathing, the more I was grateful. For some reason unexplained, I would wake up the next morning and my skin would just be glowing. I would have a natural shine and smile to myself.
Happiness
So
from the inside.
it's almost re-engineering our thought process when it comes to skin, and especially just reading out those emotions. When it comes to gratitude, being grounded, being centered in me, that has everything to do with understanding the distinctions of just who I am and what makes up me, and understanding that anything else outside of me, that's external. But what I can control and what I can be with is just me and who I am. And if we read through again those emotions of somebody having boundary issues, when you're in that state of gratitude and thankfulness for self, all of a sudden the boundary issues are dissolved, and quite naturally there is no skin issues. I just wake up with this young looking face. So that's probably the little detail that I want to put onto that. I'm going to go to one last question, then we're going to go to a break. So the last question that I have for Audrey is, are there different oils to use for different skin types? I mean, for me, I'd like to know a little bit more about the skin types first off. And also, how do essential oils compare to formulated skincare or department store oils?
Yeah.
I think we've
kind of
over
covered that. Yeah, but there are different oils for different skin types. There's dry skin, there's oily skin, there's combination skin, there's mature skin. So definitely that's information is readily available to everyone. Different oils will serve a specific purpose.
Oh, in that case, there's wrinkly skin.
Wrinkly skin.
And in my case, there's stretch mark skin.
Yes, and that's something that I can relate to, having bared a child. But the good news is there are specific oils that can target those different kinds of skin. So that's not, I have a list here, which I don't think we could dive into it. But the most important thing is to know is, after you've looked up all this, is not to over worry or be too pedantic or particular about the type of oils you use. It's not like if you use an oil for oily skin instead of dry skin, something bad's going to happen. No, it's actually going to have so many different therapeutic effects and benefits for your skin. So not to worry too much. It just does what nature's intended. It does its magic. It communicates with the cells it needs to communicate, and just move along. But yes, you can create very specific synergistic combinations to really support, fast pace results. I could suppose give a few tips. For me, I love, because my skin is typically drier, especially in this Melbourne weather, but it also has to do a lot to do with the kind of carrier oil you use. It's really important, and I love using argan. I love using jojoba. Jojoba is actually a wax. It helps to seal in the moisture. And I like to kind of balance that out with probably grapeseed oil. Usually I go for that. But Young Living has this amazing V6 blend you can also use on your face as well as your body. And what I typically use are my favorites that I mentioned is frankincense, sandalwood. Myrrh is amazing. That's another biblical oil that was used. And many parents love to use that to after their child is, on their umbilical cord, to help support that drying out and dropping off process. But also cedarwood and rose is great for dry skin, and carrot seed and patchouli and jasmine. So there are many, many different types of oils you can pick from. The point is you just start with less. Less is more. Use 2 to 3 different ones, but know that 2 to 3 different oils is going to create a beautiful synergy. Sometimes too many creates a muck, So start with less and then work your way up. And it depends also on your preference to the smell of the oil. That's important too, because it's evoking a certain response mechanism, right, with your emotional brain. So that's important. And yes, then you've got oily skin typically, a lot of people have. At the end of the day, what's important to realize is whatever oils you pick, your skin will start to balance itself naturally. That's just what it does, because nature has all the compounds it needs to communicate with your body so that your body can do what it was supposed to do, what it was designed to do naturally from the very beginning. But usually we're experiencing all these different issues is because it's out of balance, it's out of whack for whatever reason that we've introduced into our environment. But to continue oily skin, great one is rosemary, lemongrass, cypress, geranium, lavender, and frankincense. So you can see frankincense does oily and dry. So that's a really good one. I think we'll stop it there while we take a break, and we'll come back and answer more questions.
Great, everyone. So before we go to a break, I just want to talk about our most recent project that we have going on, and that is our masterclass that's coming up. Masterclass is super special, and I'll just share my screen now. On our main page, which is www.ascensionacademy.au, by selecting the workshop part of the page, you'll be able to arrive at all of our online classes and also live workshops that we're providing. So if I just scroll on down here, we're giving a masterclass. The masterclass is on the 11th of November. If you click on in, it'll pop up. So in about 10 days, Audrey's going to be going through and exploring ancient wisdom and modern science, bridging the gap. We're going to go over how to instantly comprehend, communicate, and use essential oils as a therapist, at the therapist level, everyone, without having to go to all of the years of training that Audrey did. So we're going to be covering 3 key secrets. And what we decided to do was cap the seats at 50. We only just made a post about it yesterday, and we've only got 39 seats left over now. The Zoom link will be emailed out to everybody, and the class will go for about 2 hours. We gave this exact talk on stage in Queensland, and now we're wanting to also make it available online. And we're not too sure as yet whether we're going to also provide a recording or anything available. We might just keep it just to a live webinar. So just wanted to talk about that a bit before we go to break. And when we come back from break, we're going to be covering more such as safety tips when it comes to using essential oils on the skin and some of the practical applications and implementing essential oils on a daily skincare regimen. Any other tips and tricks that Audrey has to provide us and share with us, we'll be going over that after the break. So without further ado, we'll speak to you in about a minute or two's time. Speak to you all soon.
And welcome back. So we're here today to talk about all things related to healthy, glowy skin and essential oils. This is episode 5 of season 1, and we're going to continue on with the talking about which oils or what oils are great for the skin. Actually, we covered that, sorry. We're going to talk about the safety tips and practical applications and other tips and tricks I want to share with you when it comes to healthy, glowy skin.
This is really cool. I want to have a moment to celebrate Audrey and have her take it away, take the lead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Did you want me to ask you? Or?
No, you can ask yourself.
Right.
You can take the lead.
Awesome. So some of the safety tips, we're just going to jump right into it. Some of the safety tips when it comes to using essential oils on the skin is obviously there are certain oils that you need to take care not to use when you're going out in the sun, and they're called toxic oils, and it typically the citrus oils. So even though citrus oils like lemon and orange, they do have amazing benefits for skin, you would want to be careful when you use them. You're not going directly into sun when you're using those ones in your blends. Usually, typically, I use it 12 hours before going out into the sun. But other than that, other safety tips typically is obviously avoid sensitive areas and like the eyes and the ears, avoiding those areas. You also have to be mindful of dilution. Now, a lot of the misconceptions around essential oils not being safe to use on skin is people say, no, you can't use essential oils on skin unless it's diluted. You cannot use them on neat, but that comes from different experiences people have had with their essential oils. And a big one is not knowing the source or quality of your oils, and hence it creates an adverse reaction. And obviously over time, when you do use essential oils long enough, your body will be adapted to using essential oils. So you can play around with dilution ratios. But if you're a beginner, then obviously you would want to stick to a heavy dilution, which we do go into and cover on our blog, safety tips there. But essentially, I'd make serums for my skin at like a 8 to 12% ratio, and what that means is like in a teaspoon of carrier oil or a teaspoon of grapeseed oil, for example, I only put in anywhere between 5, 6, 7, 8 or 12 drops of essential oil. That means you get a 12% dilution ratio. That's how you measure it. 5 mils is 1 teaspoon. So dilution's important. But, my girlfriends who are in the beauty industry have told me they go up to 20% and it does phenomenal for them. So it really depends. There's no hard and fast rules. The most important thing is not to get caught up and fearful that you're making mistakes or that you're breaking rules, because everyone is different and it does come down to quality. And when we talk about quality, we're talking about something that hasn't been tainted with man-made compounds. So that's when we have problems, right? When that happens. Yeah.
I want to say that the entire safety blog is available on the link that I just put inside the chat. Or if you're listening on our website, we have a blog available specifically on safety. Inside the blog, it has everything written out for you. And it also has a 20-minute video on us walking you through the safety of using essential oils, patch tests,
Yes.
dilution of oils, understanding caution with children, sensitive areas, photosensitive essential oils, pregnancy, nursing, medical conditions, and more. So it's all available. There's links available. It's essentially if Audrey had 20 minutes and sat down with all of her members and everybody that asked, this is exactly what she would be telling you every single time for the use of safety, safely using essential oil.
And, it's a growth process. Once you start using and you become familiar with essential oils, you gain more confidence, especially myself as a mother. When I first started out 8 years ago, I wasn't too sure what to use, but I did trust it enough because my friend recommended this quality of oils. I trusted her enough, and I trusted enough to use on my son. And over time, when I saw the amazing results he was getting, I gained more and more confidence. And he gained confidence as well. Now he knows intuitively just to go and reach for a particular essential oil depending on what he's dealing with. Right. So safety, again, is coming down to just knowing the basic guidelines. As long as you're pragmatic, there are no side effects. There's nothing to be worried about. Right.
Great. All right. So the next question here, what are some of the practical applications when it comes to implementing essential oils into a daily skincare regimen?
Yeah, let's unpack that.
I'll get you to unpack maybe your skincare regimen.
Yeah, we can share what we do with the world. So how my day looks is, well, essentially I don't have anything pre-blended at the moment. We go through our pre-blends so quickly, it's ridiculous. So I just intuitively reach for my favorite oils now, and it's frankincense and lavender. And then I just kind of mix it in my hand and I add some coconut oil and I just rub it all over my body. So morning and night starts with just moisturizing my entire body after a shower.
Although I do mix my pre-blends because it was a very special blue color and I would like to use more of that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's blue tansy. Yeah, that's a nice one. So yeah, coming back to practical applications, when I used to be a bit more particular, I did make my own skin toner. I did make my own, and you can do that in a bottle of witch hazel, right? And you add some oils that have astringent qualities. Like I mentioned, it could be cypress, could be a tiny bit of lemon, it could be rosemary, whatever has astringent qualities is great. Witch hazel's already astringent, but that helps to kind of, mix it into a base and you spray it over your skin. You can make your own creams and serum. When I say serum, I'm just saying it's blended in with a base oil. It's an oil form in a dropper bottle. And that keeps my skin moist. It holds in the moisture after I've washed it. What's another daily use? I use oils every day over my thyroid glands. So there's specific oils and blends to really support my daily hormone production over my glands. I also use blends that are rich in phytoestrogens to support my estrogen levels. And I use them as a deodorant. I just put it under my armpit. Sometimes I use oils directly into my hair. Like G was asking what oils is good for healthy hair, and I forgot to mention specifically I love rosemary. That's great because that's not only great for scalp and hair, but it's great for memory. Right? It's really good for clarity and memory. So since you're putting something there, right, you might as well kill two birds with one stone.
It often works like that, how essential oils, when applied in certain areas, also have the signature of working on other parts of the body in that same area.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. Yeah.
That's what I found.
Yeah.
For me, one part that I want to add on to this conversation would be having a regimen of removing and cleaning your pores.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I have my own mix or blend in a big sort of glass container of bicarb soda. Like I've kind of poured half a packet in there with a triple distilled vodka. And that's as natural as you can get in terms of like having something that has a pulling nature to it. In fact, if you use it with kind of a really heavy scrub and you're scrubbing around each little part or segment of the body, it's a really powerful gua sha and it works through all of the layers of skin and opens up the pores. Because we have to remember as well that the pores in the skin is a method for the body to detoxify as well. So we have to support that process to allow it to get rid of the old and regenerate some of the new, while opening up the pores. That also means that we open up a two-way pathway into the body. So open up the pore and then bring in some specific essential oil signature that you want to work on or that you would like to drive into the body as a part of your skin process. An example of this would be, for me, I get to work on my emotion of frustration and also me wanting to focus at work. So these are two components that I'm constantly trying to work on every day. So me being able to clear and open up the pores and then mix in with a coconut oil, cedarwood and gerania, but also sneak in some release oil into that, completely changes the dynamic of the day and changes the way that my nervous system responds. So here's some of the extra detail that you get to do when you're working with your skin.
Yeah, and that's the topical application of essential oils. And not to mention, diffusion is a very effective way for the molecules of the essential oils to permeate the room that you're in, for you to really experience something deeper on an emotional level. It's so quick to act on the emotional part of the brain, supporting you in whatever you're doing, whether it's with you and your child or you're homeschooling or whether you're working on a podcast. We have some stuff diffusing at the back there for clarity and focus, whether you're just trying to pump out the next project. Diffusing the essential oil is going to really support you there. And generally myself, it really depends on the day and what I'm feeling. So working with essential oils has really helped me to tune into myself since I've started working with it. Like I'm more aware of myself, my body, and what I'm feeling in my body.
Yep. And if that all sounds a little bit too complicated or convoluted, you can also look at, like, say, for example, PubMed, which will give you studies or even just general benefits as to what essential oils work on what part of the body. What I like to do, though, is I like to look at the essential oil. I've got a few books here just kind of off onto the side where you can you can start at the emotional level and work backwards and understand, well, if Tumai wants to work on this emotion or that emotion, which is just energy and motion moving through his body, if he wants to support that or release that or move that, then the oils, his ability to identify the emotions and then start to work through the layers, kind of like backwards calculating the emotion to the alarm point to the application of the body part to the essential oil, well, then I find that I get more of a robust understanding of what essential oil does what. And often now, like if you ask me about essential oils, I tend to smell the oil or look at the name of the oil. But more importantly, in my mind, what floats around is the emotion and the application point these days. And I find that that's a really rewarding way to have a relationship with essential oils. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, and that comes from like really Eastern methodology, and a lot of our friends will understand that is, you know, before even science told us all these things, that this plant can work with this body part or this emotion or this organ. Eastern methodologies and ancient civilizations have been doing it for millennia. They've mapped it all out. So science is now only catching up with ancient wisdom, right? And how different organs hold on to different emotions. And liver is associated with anger and kidneys associated fear. And it's just been really interesting to draw those conclusions, those connections, and becoming aware of that, and catching the symptoms early so that you can address the underlying core issue, which is the emotion.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like we now have research that backs up that lavender helps relax the body. Oh,
So
really?
it's
Like,
proven now.
really?
Yeah.
It's like, hang on. When when you were smelling the essential oil and you knocked out coal for hours, that didn't tell you, but the
No,
reason,
it's a placebo to my.
or no seeds. Yeah, it's really interesting how humans learn. So
Yeah.
I find that fascinating. Well, we got
We've
some
got
last
some
couple of
holistic
questions.
approaches, which you
Okay.
kind of covered. One of them that I wanted to share was the gua sha bit.
Go
So
for
you
it.
beat me to the punch. But
Okay.
yeah, but I wanted to talk about some of the other things we do in our lives or in my life that supports my skin health and glow, other than the essential oils and the amazing compounds that they contain that actually communicate with your skin and your body. Other than that, when we're talking about a holistic approach to aging and to aging well and gracefully, is again what Jim mentioned, eliminating things from the body, and that also speaks into eliminating commercial products, right? So I don't even buy anything commercial to put on my body anymore. If you can't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it on your body, I think. So that's one thing, is being cautious of what you're putting on your body, on your skin, and what you're inhaling and what you're using around your home and on your floors, because all that gets absorbed through your skin and into your tissue, your organs, your fat, and it gets stored there for years and years. The gua sha is one thing we talked about, which was amazing. And I also do that for my face, if I can just share.
While Audrey's getting all of that out, if you're just joining, we've done about 40 minutes on the podcast already. We've spoken about essential oils that work on the skin, the mind-body connection, and how it relates to the skin. We've spoken about different skin types. We've gone into depth about synergy and understanding really at the depth level the compounds in relation to skin and how when we apply and work with the skin, there's so much more happening when using essential oils. Go for it, Audrey.
Yeah, and I have this gua sha tool. So gua sha is you use a crystal blade, so to speak, and you can just run it against your skin and move it in this direction. So you're stimulating the cells, you're stimulating your skin, and you're also creating circulation, blood flow to the surface of your skin.
So those listening and don't have video access, if you're just listening to the podcast, Audrey has a gua sha blade. It's of the color emerald for Audrey. She's using
Jade.
that, and jade, and she's dragging it across different parts of her face. This reminds me of a class that we had with a good member and friend of ours, Jo, and she's a body talk specialist, and she was teaching us about all of the different body organs that interrelate with the face and how we can stimulate the lymphatic system. And yeah, there's just so much on this topic. But when using essential oils, and what I love about essential oils, for those that are therapists, practitioners, massage therapists, I'm talking about chiropractors, I'm talking about meditation, breathwork facilitation, like myself. We're talking about all sorts of physiotherapy to sports therapy. If you're in any of these fields as a therapist, essential oils just bridges the gap between allowing Mother Nature, her power, her potency, her speed of delivery, and her complete coverage to be brought into your practice and your offering and making your work more robust, more valuable for your customers and your clients. And if that resonates, feel free to join our masterclass, which is in about 10 days as well.
Yep.
Any other parts that we need to cover today in terms of tips?
Well,
or
absolutely.
tricks?
I mean, for me to maintain healthy skin, I have to also look into hydration, which is really important, drinking lots of water. And when you're using essential oils regularly on a daily basis, that's really important because what they do in your body is they are detoxifiers. They can help chelate, take out, remove toxins from your body, especially if you're using it in a gua sha method around your lymph nodes. You got to support that lymphatic detox by drinking more water. The other thing is just antioxidant foods high in antioxidants, because the oil is already high in antioxidants, but also being aware of what kind of foods are you putting in your mouth.
Does that mean I can't have my cheat meals anymore?
Cheat meals are allowed. Everything in moderation.
Okay.
We're doing really good, you know. So yeah, we take very high antioxidant foods, lots of greens and lots of cruciferous vegetables. We are taking a Ningxia Red, which is a potent antioxidant supplement drink from Young Living, which has the dried wolfberry or the wolfberry puree in there, and that has the highest measurements of antioxidant activity compared to any other fruit. So that supports the detoxification, the natural processes that our body has. So it's a combination. It's eliminating things that don't serve you and then adding in the stuff to support your body's natural processes. Yeah.
Yeah, well done. Well, we're going to wrap up today's episode, which is episode number 5. Today's title has been phenomenal when it comes to Inside and Out Beauty Elixir, essential oils for timeless radiance. The last tip that I have for everybody is, if all else fails, get yourself a young boyfriend, because they say that you're only as old as what you sleep next to. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you on the next podcast.
See you then.